Edwards, the mindset geek from go2l.com, and welcome back. Now in today's episode, we are thinking about your why. Now, why am I encouraging you today to think about your why? There's a very good reason why we want to focus on those whys today. It's a funny kind of word. You say the word why too often and it starts to sound all kinds of wrong. Why? Or maybe if you've had children, you'll remember when they're small and they ask you a question, but why? But why? However, that why is really important because whatever project you're embarking upon, and yes, in October we are thinking about you writing your book, but this applies to any project, any big goal. When we first get started, it's really exciting and fun and we're full of enthusiasm and it's amazing and all the best things in the world. And then we get about 2 days, maybe 5 days, maybe even a week in, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got to do this again? Really? You've got to be kidding me. That messy middle. And your why is really important for when you hit that messy middle because it will help you get your bum in the seat, unless you have a standing desk. But it will help you get your fingers on the keyboard. It will help you take action and actually do the work when you actually don't really want to. Now, you might have heard me talk about shoulds before. I don't like shoulds. I think shoulds should be shoved right out the window because those expectations and shoulds and they're just draining. However, when it comes to writing your book or getting involved in any big project, there is power in consistency, in showing up every single day and doing the work. And yes, you could go, I'm just going to write 10,000 words in one day. And it can be done. It's really hard work. And I would encourage you to have a really clear plan for what you're going to write that day. Otherwise, it will take you all day and some. But it's not ideal. To get the very best content out there, to have the very best book you possibly can, and to have fun while you do it, it's far better to be consistent, little and often, showing up, doing the work. And that is when your why, that was almost quite hard, that's when your why becomes really important. So I want to encourage you today, start thinking about why you want to write this book. What is it about this project that's got you excited? Why is right now your time to do it? And yes, sometimes when people say, do this thing, do that thing, we just do them in our heads. I want to encourage you today, get a piece of paper or open a document on your computer and actually write down with actual words your why. Take some time to think about it. And no, it doesn't have to be fully constructed sentences, although if we think about next month, you are going to have to practice writing in fairly proper sentences, I'm just saying. So it wouldn't hurt to start practicing now. However, for finding your why, you don't have to have proper sentences. There are no right or wrong answers. This is just about being honest with yourself. And you don't have to show this to anybody else either. By all means, you can come to the League of Brilliance and share your whys with me and the rest of the community there because we can help encourage you and cheer you on. But that's optional. You can keep this to yourself. You don't have to show anybody else. So it doesn't really matter. You might be sat there going, well, actually, Elle, the thing is, my reason for wanting to write are really stupid and they're really silly. And I don't really feel quite like, yeah, you haven't even got the words because you feel so silly about it. No, it doesn't matter what your reasons are for wanting to write. Even if you're writing a book because it's one of those things that you've told yourself and promised yourself that you would get done and you feel like you're forever putting it off, fine, that's a valid reason. I would encourage you to dig a little deeper and go, but why? And we'll get to that in a second. Because I want to write a book because I want to write a book is kind of like, well, yeah, okay, but why? Why? Be like that little child, but why? But why? Keep digging in, but why? But why? Until you come to that final answer. And most of the time, when you get that final why, it will hit you like, it'll just feel amazing. And maybe a little bit scary, but that's okay. Scary stuff can be good for us too. So keep digging at it. Be like a little child. But why? But why? And as a side note, you might do this exercise and find out actually, I don't actually really want to do this right now. If that happens, fine. That's perfectly valid too. Now, I'm not trying to get rid of half my audience by putting you off the idea of writing. That's not why I'm saying that. But sometimes when we examine our reasons for wanting to write a book, Sometimes it's because somebody else told us it would be a good idea. We're writing because other people expect it of us. Those are rubbish reasons for writing a book. I'm just saying. So if you do these exercises, and if you do it and find that actually I haven't really got any real reasons for wanting to write, and actually, if I'm honest with myself, I don't really want to do it, that's perfectly valid. And actually, that's a really valuable thing to do, and kind of the reason why I'm having us do this exercise right now at the very beginning of this process. Because at the end of the day, life is short. You've got lots of things you could be doing. Why waste any more time in getting your head ready for writing if actually it's not for you right now? I'm just saying. However, I imagine that most people watching this or listening to this do want to write a book or have some big project they want to focus on next month. And so for you, I would encourage you, but why your way to that final motivation. Write it down and then see how you can get some visual reminders in front of you, because you're going to need them for the messy middle. And we are going to dig into that messy middle in a few days or maybe a couple of weeks' time, because it's going to come up, I'm just saying, and it's far better to be prepared and deal with it before you get there than to be taken completely by surprise and, oh my word, Elle never told me this would happen. So yes, we are going to address the messy middle later on in this process. However, for today, just take some time and find your why. Okay? Excellent. Get to it. In the meantime, smile. Have yourself a delightful day. I've been Elle from gotoelle.com. Take care. Bye-bye.